Hi, this is Dave Lorenzo, the chairman and founder of Rainmaker Lawyer Consulting, and today I'm going to introduce you to what I call the Pinacate pricing process. The Pinacate pricing process. That's the process that I use when I teach my clients how to price their services, and it is a value-based pricing model. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that most legal services are priced by the hour, or most legal work is done, if not by the hour, on a contingency basis. Well, this is neither, and it's value-based pricing, and it's something that I developed specifically for my legal clients. Here's how it works. In the first step of the Pinacate pricing process, we focus on getting to the heart of the matter at issue with the client. So we're really doing an interview to identify the scope of the engagement we're going to have with them. Notice I didn't say the scope of the lawsuit. Notice I didn't say the scope of work. I said the scope of the engagement. Our time with a client is an engagement, and it develops a relationship. So the client is either moving away from something that could be painful for him or her, and that's why he's looking to hire you, or he's moving towards something that could be pleasurable for him or her, and he's looking to have you help him achieve the ultimate goal of attaining that object or that pleasurable experience. In your interview, you have to determine what the ultimate outcome the client is looking to achieve is. Now, in litigation, for example, your client could be out to inflict as much pain on his adversary as possible, and is not as concerned with the ultimate outcome as he is with the inflicting of pain. That's a client that's going to require very special handling and a very special fee. If your client is out to achieve a specific objective, regardless of whether you go to trial or there's a settlement pre-trial, then that's a different kind of client. So the interview has to be comprehensive, and you have to really be able to get to the heart of the matter and scope out the engagement when it comes to doing client work. So getting all the information on the table during the interview is absolutely critical. Step 2 is identifying the consequences for the worst possible consequences, if you will, the consequences for failure. Not to say that you're going to fail, but if the client, whether he hires you or not, fails to prevail, what are the consequences? Oftentimes, we find that the client has expectations that are unrealistic, or the client really isn't fully briefed on the maximum consequences for failure. So you need to identify those right up front. And what you're going to do is you're going to use those consequences as a tool in developing your pricing and presenting your pricing to your client. I liken this to a visit to the doctors. Let's say you go to the doctors for an annual physical, and the doctor takes a chest x-ray as part of the exam, all the way up to the point where you're heading into the doctor's office, when you're sitting in the waiting room waiting, when you're answering the questions that are on the medical checklist, when you're going through the exam, you're doing it grudgingly because it's your annual exam, you've got better things to do, you've taken time out of your day to sit for this annual exam. The doctor takes his chest x-ray, he reviews it, and he says, you know something, I'm not really crazy about what I see on this x-ray. I'd like you to go for some further tests. Immediately, all that time that you've invested grudgingly is forgotten about, and your only concern is the consequences, the possible consequences of your current situation. That's the point we want to get the client to during this step in the process. We want to find out what the maximum consequences are should you not prevail. Okay, step 3 is to get the client to visualize that actual worst case. Get him to feel the pain of not achieving the result that he desires. Having the client feel that pain will put him in the proper mindset for understanding the value of your services. The step after that, the 4th step, is to add a financial element to the pain. How much will it cost the client if he does not prevail? Or how great will the benefit be in the case that he's striving toward a benefit? How great will the benefit be if he does prevail? And you have to understand that people moving away from pain is a far greater motivation than moving toward pleasure. But if you're in a situation where there is tremendous upside, you also want to highlight that, as well as you want to maximize the pain of non-performance. So putting a dollar amount, both positive and negative, on the situation is definitely helpful in demonstrating your value. The fifth step is giving an example to the client, multiple examples if you have them, of similar cases that you've resolved. Now, I'm not telling you to promise an outcome. I'm telling you, in fact, to issue a disclaimer ahead of time and say your case is different, but this is a case that I worked on that had a similar fact pattern. I want you to know that I'm not promising a result here. So identifying cases that had similar fact patterns to the fact pattern in your client's case is the fifth step, just to show the client that a positive outcome is possible. Now, if you haven't worked on a similar case, then showing a similar case just from case law that had a positive outcome could also be helpful in this situation. Showing that a positive outcome is possible is definitely helpful here. And then step 6, compare your fee to the pain of not prevailing, or compare your fee to the benefit when you do prevail. So in other words, if your fee is $20,000 and the outcome the client is trying to achieve is adopting a child, that child to that family is priceless. So $20,000 pales in comparison. If your client is being sued for $20 million and your fee is $75,000 to prevent the client from having to pay $20 million, that $75,000 seems minor in comparison. This is why we base our pricing on value. The bottom line is this. If you're concerned about demonstrating enough value to your client, if you follow these 6 steps, the value will be imminently clear. All you need to do beyond that point is to convince the client to take action and hire you. Now, most of the problems that most attorneys have with this process is right in their head because they can't seem to pin down the number of hours they're going to work on this matter. Here's what I will tell you. If you position this process appropriately with your client, the number of hours you work doesn't matter, and your fee is going to be viewed as relative to the desired outcome. As long as your fee is relative to the desired outcome, it really is unimportant how many hours you work on the matter. You can price yourself at the pinnacle of the market, but as long as you base your fee on the value you provide and not on the number of hours you've worked, your client is going to feel good about it, and you're going to feel good about it as well. This has been your introduction to the Pinacate pricing process. I wish you the best of luck in implementing it, and if you'd like more great law firm marketing and business strategy tips just like these, you can find me, Dave Lorenzo, at rainmakerlawyer.com. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic day.